They said it couldn't be done. They called it impossible, inhumane, un-American. But in just weeks, Trump's border enforcement has achieved what Biden claimed would take decades. Fentanyl seizures down 99%, gotaways eliminated, cartels running scared, 1,500 criminal aliens arrested in Massachusetts alone. A massive raid in South Carolina nabbing 66 cartel soldiers planning their next massacre. Palmer Luckey's AI towers now watch 35% of our border, detecting every smuggler, every trafficking victim, every invasion attempt. The Washington Post is so stunned they're calling the success mysterious because they can't admit Trump was right. What you're about to see will prove that mass deportations isn't just possible, it's happening right now. So keep watching. And just as Trump is protecting our borders from invasion, American bees face their own survival crisis that threatens our food security. Bees pollinate 1/3 of our food supply, but their populations are collapsing. That is why PatriotBeeBest.com is fighting back. This veteran-owned mission restores bee habitats, supports local beekeepers, and educates patriots about protecting our agricultural sovereignty. When you support PatriotBeeBest.com, you're not just saving bees, you are securing America's food independence. Subscribe now with code NEXTNEWS for 25% off. You'll receive the Patriot Bee Digest with actionable information and family-friendly content. Go to PatriotBeeBest.com. It's linked below. Protect the bees and preserve the republic. Catch the buzz today. And just as bees are essential to our food chain, secure borders are essential to our nation's survival. What Trump has accomplished in mere weeks proves that Biden's border chaos was intentional, not inevitable. The numbers tell a story of complete transformation. Today, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt laid out the truth the media refuses to report. If you are in the country illegally, you are subject to deportation, period. No more catch and release. No more processing centers that become welcome stations. Just the law enforced as written. Watch.
The president and the Trump administration have been very clear. If you are in the country illegally, you are subject to deportation.
Clear, simple, constitutional. The president and his administration mean exactly what they say. Illegal means illegal. And the depth of Democrat delusion was exposed when Eric Swallowswell suddenly discovered that we have a border crisis after Trump already fixed it. This is the same Swallowswell who spent 4 years denying any problem existed while he was banging Chinese spies. Now he claims Americans won't allow illegal immigration reform until the border's secure, as if Trump hasn't already delivered that security. Watch.
We do have a border crisis, and the American people will not allow us to work on legal immigration issues like, job vacancies in agriculture, food and beverage, hospitality, childcare, something that many Americans live with, until they believe that we have security at the border. However, what the American people are also saying is have a process as you deport people. Don't deport U.S. citizen children who are battling cancer. And that's where this administration, I think, is losing credibility with the American people. And now we're seeing that they can't deport the people who are threats to the community, and instead they're getting rid of kids who are battling cancer.
They're getting rid of kids who are battling cancer. Listen to him play that violin, right? Democrats can't admit that Trump solved the crisis because then they'd have to explain why they created it. The technology revolution, though, at our border, it's stunning. Palmer Luckey, the genius behind Oculus VR, has deployed 300 surveillance towers through his defense company, Anduril. Now, these aren't your grandfather's cameras. They're AI-powered sentinels that detect every movement, every crossing, every criminal attempt. Watch.
Well, I'm a huge fan of border security, and I know that border security and immigration policy are really different issues, and that even a lot of Democrats who want, I guess you could say, open immigration, agree that we need secure borders. It's truly a bipartisan or nonpartisan issue, regardless of what the spicier talking points from one party or the other might say. We need to know who's crossing our border. We need to know when sex trafficking, when human trafficking, when drug trafficking, when arms smuggling, when cash movements back and forth are going across our border. You're right, Anduril has hundreds of towers deployed on the southern border. We're covering about 35% of the southern border now. I think it is so refreshing to have a president who understands that border security is not a problem to be managed as if it's some kind of act of God or a natural disaster that you can, at best, slightly temper. It is a position that we can hold. It is an outcome we can secure. We can have a border where we know everything that's crossing back and forth. We can have a border where we control what comes into our country and what leaves our country. And I think that the recognition of that, seeing the success we've seen in the border security mission over the last few weeks has been fantastic. Now we need to figure out how to do it at a cost that's reasonable without having to surge quite so many people, particularly our brave men and women in the armed forces.
35% of the border now has total surveillance. Sex traffickers, drug mules, arms smugglers, all detected instantly. Technology defeating tyranny. While Trump secures the border, Democrats are attacking the heroes enforcing our laws. Congressman Dan Goldman bragged about confronting ICE agents for wearing masks, demanding to know why they hid their faces. The answer is chilling. Death threats against their families have increased 413%. Democrats' rhetoric is literally endangering law enforcement. Watch.
And I asked them, I said to them, what is the point here? Are you just trying to tally more arrests? I didn't get any real response. And then I said to them, why are you wearing masks? I was a federal prosecutor for 10 years. I worked with ICE agents. I worked with law enforcement agents. I never saw any of them wear masks. This is brand new. And the question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Goldman worked with ICE for 10 years but never saw masks. That's because agents never faced assassination threats for doing their jobs until Democrats made them targets. The scope of ICE operations is breathtaking. In South Carolina, Operation Last Stand culminated in the raid of the Alamo nightclub after a cartel after-party with over 200 attendees. The 8-month investigation netted 80 arrests, including 66 illegal aliens with ties to Las Zetas and Tren de Aragua gangs. Watch.
Joining us first at 6, new details on Operation Last Stand, a month-long investigation that led to at least 80 arrests near Somerville yesterday.
The Charleston County Sheriff's Office, SLED, and Homeland Security investigations shut down the Alamo nightclub off Highway 78, a place they call home to repeated dangerous and illegal activity.
And our Claire Weber joins us now live from that scene this evening of the sting operation with more details on how this all unfolded. Claire?
Katie, Tessa, officials say there were more than 200 people at this nightclub early Sunday morning for what they call a, quote, cartel after party. Now, one person who was here tells me they had no idea this was an illegal establishment. Still today, all you'll find are closed signs and locked doors.
Hands up! If you're involved in illegal activity in Charleston County, I can assure you there's no place to hide.
A nearly 8-month-long operation coming to a head Sunday at the Alamo nightclub. Sheriff Carl Ritchie says what started as a history of noise complaints soon became much bigger.
We started noticing the assaults occurring in the parking lot, maybe some of the different illegal activity that was going on that caused us to take a deeper look.
Around 3 a.m. Sunday, nearly 200 local, state, and federal officials served 116 arrest warrants to a total of 80 people. Homeland Security says more than 66 people arrested are in the U.S. illegally, some facing criminal charges.
A 13-year-old was found inside. Firearms, cocaine, and trafficking victims recovered. This was a cartel forward operating base in America. The criminals arrested include someone wanted for murder in Honduras. And Governor McMaster blamed Biden's non-enforcement for creating these cartel strongholds. Sheriff Ritchie promised that this is only the beginning. More operations are coming to restore order. Watch.
This operation was not only about immigration enforcement. It was also about restoring order, removing threats from our streets, and ensuring the safety and well-being of Charleston area residents.
One resident as young as 13. Officials say 10 underage people were removed from the establishment. A missing juvenile was found during the club raid, and possible trafficking victims are now receiving support from the appropriate agencies.
This speaks to the deeply troubling conditions at this location.
The multi-agency operation also recovering firearms, cocaine, large sums of currency, and other unknown substances, something SLED says is only possible by working together at every level.
We will continue to do that And there will be more operations like this as we continue to work to bring justice to those who have been victimized and to also bring those to justice.
At least 2 people arrested are reportedly tied to the Los Zetas and Tren de Aragua gangs, and one now in custody is wanted for murder in Honduras. Governor Henry McMaster blaming past federal policy.
This is what we are getting as a result of the lack of enforcement and the non-enforcement of the laws under the Biden administration.
While still praising state and local efforts to shut it down.
We got the right team to do it, and you're looking at that team right now.
Sheriff Ritchie says the Alamo is closed for good and facing multiple county code violations. The investigation is still ongoing, and officials expect more details to come from this in the future. Working for you live in Charleston County, Claire Weber, News 4.
The Alamo nightclub closed forever. Criminal networks that operated openly under Biden are being systematically destroyed. The most stunning success is the fentanyl crisis reversal. Maria Bartiromo exposed how the Washington Post refuses to credit Trump for the mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures. 7,400 pounds seized this year, a massive decline because less is coming in, not because we're catching less. Watch.
The mainstream media is still refusing to credit President Trump for stopping and slowing the flow of deadly fentanyl into America via the southern border. The Washington Post is questioning the, quote, mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures, offering several explanations as to why it could possibly be happening. Not a single one crediting President Trump for a job well done. The Trump administration deployed thousands of troops at the border, expanded drone flights to combat the flow of illegal drugs. 7,403 pounds of fentanyl have been seized so far this year. It's incredible to me to see the Washington Post wonder why, and they say, Tiffany, it's mysterious. Wow, what a mysterious decline in fentanyl.
These are the headlines that just make you so mad at legacy mainstream media, because this is something that should be celebrated. They're just mad because they know it's President Trump's policies that are decreasing the flow of fentanyl. President Trump understood that fentanyl was a national security crisis, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So he stepped up to the plate, showing peace through strength and saving lives, and they just can't stand it. President Trump called on China to implement 20% tariffs to stop the influx of synthetic opioids coming in, which we know fentanyl is a component. And China, we know China was shipping those components into the United States of America. Not only that, President Trump was tough on Mexico, bringing the Mexico president to the table and getting Mexican troops at our border as well. So this credit belongs to President Trump, and it's saving Americans' lives, and everyone should be behind it.
Trump threatened China with 20% tariffs unless they stopped shipping fentanyl components. China blinked. Mexico deployed troops, and the cartels are retreating. Then Tom Homan delivered the hard truth about Biden's legacy. The administration was handing out work visas like candy to unvetted individuals. 2 million gotaways vanished into America. We'll be dealing with Biden's national security disaster for the next decade. Watch.
And I've said over and over again, what scares me about the southern border, the sex trafficking, right? Sky high. The Americans dying from fentanyl. The people, all the drugs coming across, all the sex trafficking, all the smuggling. And I said what concerned me the most was they created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. Not only did 2 million known gotaways, 2 million people cross the border. We don't know who they are, where they came from. We don't know where they are now. On top of that, even through the legal process, the Biden administration were bringing people unvetted, handing out work visas like they're candy, while they sat here and planned something bad. We are going to be dealing with this for the next 10 years because of the chaos they created in 4 years. We're out there kicking butt. We're arresting a lot of criminal aliens. We're out there looking for the bad guy. And when we're out there doing that, Sean, we got protesters assaulting ICE officers. We got members of Congress all over the country going to ICE facilities, raising hell, saying this is their oversight responsibility. Where were those oversight responsibility when 10.5 million illegal aliens came across the border? Where's the oversight responsibility on releasing over 8 million illegal aliens in this country? Where's the oversight responsibility then? This is an attack on ICE. This is an attack on the Trump administration. We're trying to fix the damage done by Biden.
Well, ICE agents arrest criminal aliens, protesters assault officers, and Congress suddenly discovers oversight after ignoring 10 million illegal crossings. Real-world consequences are immediate. In Boulder, the terrorist there was here on an expired visa that Biden refused to enforce. In New York, a Guatemalan illegal was just arrested for setting a woman on fire in the subway. These aren't isolated incidents. They are the predictable results of non-enforcement. Watch.
Well, this is, again, an act of despicable evil. And this administration has already done so much to ensure that we are deporting individuals who seek to do harm in our country and who are in our country illegally. In fact, ICE Boston just announced the arrest of more than 1,100 illegal aliens who were in Boston in the surrounding suburbs in Massachusetts, which was a sanctuary city for a state for illegal aliens. The only place this country should be a sanctuary for are law-abiding American citizens. And that's why the president has taken historic, unprecedented action to secure our nation's territorial borders. But he has also signed an executive order to streamline and make stricter our legal immigration process and our visa process. And I would remind anyone here who is on a visa, like this individual in Boulder, Colorado, came to our country. It is a privilege, not a right, to enter the United States of America. And we are not going to allow people who are pushing anti-American values and especially engaging in acts of violence to remain in our country. Your visa will be revoked and you will be deported.
She made it crystal clear. Entering America is a privilege, not a right. Violent criminals will be deported. Anti-American radicals will be removed. Here's more.
The president just put out a very strong statement condemning this attack. This terrorist came into our country under the previous administration. Joe Biden's administration foolishly gave him a tourist visa and that allowed him to unlawfully remain in our country. This individual should have been deported. Instead, he was welcomed here. And now, 3 years later, after coming to this country under Joe Biden's administration, he is lighting Jewish people on fire who were simply trying to peacefully pay respect to the hostages in Israel. This absolutely is an act of targeted terrorism. The FBI and the Department of Justice are investigating it as such, and the president is going to ensure that this individual is held to the fullest extent of the law. And not just this individual, but any individual, especially illegal criminals who engage in acts of terrorism, will be held accountable under this president.
The Boulder terrorist came here under Biden, was welcomed instead of deported, then attacked Holocaust survivors. That's Biden's immigration legacy, terror and death. The Massachusetts operation numbers are staggering. Operation Patriot arrested nearly 1,500 illegals in a single state. Over half had serious criminal convictions. The rap sheet that Leavitt read should be burned into every American's memory. Aggravated homicide, unspeakable acts of children, kidnapping, murder. I mean, think about that. A Brazilian charged with aggravated something of a child and possession of images of children. A Salvadorian whose history includes doing unspeakable acts to children by force. Now, these monsters were living in American communities protected by sanctuary policies until Trump's ICE removed them. Every parent in Massachusetts can sleep better knowing these predators are gone. Every child is safer. This is what law and order looks like, not rhetoric, but results. The border technology revolution continues expanding. Lucky's towers use advanced AI to differentiate between animals, citizens, and threats. They track patterns, identify repeat crossers, and alert agents instantly. It's a kind of innovation that only happens when government gets out of the way and lets American genius work. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. So this is what winning looks like. While Democrats weep for criminal aliens, Trump's delivering safety to American families. 1,500 arrests in Massachusetts. 66 cartel soldiers captured in South Carolina. Fentanyl deaths plummeting. Child rapists deported. Murder suspects removed. The cartels that operated like they owned America under Biden are running back to Mexico. Palmer Lucky's towers see everything. No more gotaways vanishing into your neighborhood. No more terrorists getting work permits. No more American children dying from Chinese poison. The Washington Post, calling this success mysterious, proves they'd rather see Americans die than admit Trump was right. Every deported criminal means a family saved. Every sealed border section means drugs that won't kill our kids. Every cartel base destroyed means communities reclaimed. This isn't just policy. It's salvation for a nation that Biden nearly destroyed. Or the people running the auto pen. So should ICE agents who arrested those illegals who did horrible things to children, should they have to wear masks to protect their families from Democrat mob threats? What do you think about that? Answer below. If you want to support our work here at the Next News Network, you can do so by visiting our shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and wear your support proudly.